Eerily haunting true stories about remote abandoned locations rich in history. Come with us in our travels from state to state, if you dare.
Be the last time anybody sees us alive. I don't know where she has us, but we're gonna fucking kill you.
Hello?
Gina, there is a beehive over there. Do you see that in the hole?
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Hi. Guess who's back? Well, nobody really missed me because we pre-recorded stuff, but...
Well, I missed you.
Thank you. I'm back.
She's back. Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Yes, I'm Shannon.
I'm Gina. And
Yeah.
Shannon's back. She survived.
The high, dangerous seas that Gina thought I was going to be.
Okay, well, tell me the story that you told me. Tell them.
There was a point on the ship where we were laying out by the pool because it was covered. It was nice. And we're laying out by the pool and me and Savannah are sitting there and we're like, oh, there's the sea. Oh, there's the sky. There's the sea. There's the sky.
Yeah. So,
but when you're in the water, you don't feel it. You just feel like you're in a big old wave pool because the pool's just got these waves going.
So for the record, I was correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
We'll just leave that there.
And then on one night too, like the ship was tilted for most of the night onto one side. It was listing. I don't know the technical name. So everywhere we walked, we're like, we're going to dinner. We're all walking sideways. Yeah. But I mean,
oh man,
it was just because it had a lot of high winds that night. So
regardless, I'm really glad that I didn't go.
You stayed here. So I've had a couple things where I've had like sea legs. I know what they mean. Like now that I've been on land, like I'm out seeing it all the time. But there were a couple times where I'm like, when we first got back, I'm walking through the halls of the hotel because we were going to my niece's graduation up north, and all of a sudden I'm like, woo. And I'm like, oh, those are sea legs.
Yeah, no, it's a weird feeling.
Yeah, to get back on land. But no, it was a lot of fun. But I did bring back something.
You did.
COVID. Because those cruise ships are petri dishes. So my voice is a little harsh. I am no longer contagious. I did quarantine for 5 days. All I did was lay in bed. I did get sick. So it's kind of going around my family right now. My son just tested positive. And so it's kind of, it's a gift that just keeps on giving this cruise. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
the only gross thing about cruises, So
the reason why I don't go.
Yeah. So, but
anyway.
Yeah. But when I got back, Gina said, while I was just laying in bed, I had nothing else better to do. She calls me and she's like, you got to check out this show. So we thought we'd do an episode on our reaction. We have not talked about it with each other on our reactions and how we feel about it. So we're going to share it with you.
Yeah.
So maybe if you want to give them a little bit of background.
This will be a little shoot the shit episode.
A little shoot the shit episode regarding Natalia
Grace.
Thank you. So I binge watched it yesterday.
Yeah, so did I.
So we have our reactions, but do you want to give a little bit of background about this Natalia and what this where they can find this show too?
Yeah, it's on ID channel. I watched it on Discovery Plus. I think it's probably on cable or whatever. I don't know what to call TV anymore. I don't even know if people have regular TV anymore.
I don't even need my satellite anymore. We're thinking about getting rid of it because we all just stream off apps.
Yeah. So it just came out last week on, I think, May 29th, and it's called The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, and it's just basically about a little girl from the Ukraine. She is a little person. She was born with dwarfism, and she also has scoliosis. Her mother was basically forced to give her up in the Ukraine because of medical issues and
the disability, the cost of having a child,
of everything, and so
the surgeries that it was going to cost for this little girl to have, and
so they just kind of, I feel like, talked her into giving her up, and then she was brought to the United States, where this whole
fiasco happened.
This whole saga kind of
almost like a pass around of, okay, so my first you're watching episode 1 and I'm thinking, oh shit, the fucking orphan. Like the horror movie, The Orphan.
Well, just to put things into perspective, the movie Orphan came out a year prior to her coming here.
See?
So let's just keep that into perspective. Okay.
And I didn't know that. Yeah. Thank you. And that's all I thought when it was first starting. And I'm going to tell you, and I don't know if I want, well, I mean, people, if you watch it, I'm sorry, but we're going to talk about it. So if you want to watch it before you watch our episode and our reaction on it, I tell you to go back and watch it first.
So go watch it.
It's going to be full disclosure, but they really painted the little girl in a horrible light.
Yes,
now that we know, just spoiler alert, that she's really a little girl. Now that we know, I just really think the first episode did such a disservice to her that the whole time I'm like, this fucking chick is evil. Like the way and I guess, that's movie magic and what they do. And that's,
but not only that, but I think it's her horrible adoptive mother.
Her upbringing. Of course she's fucking hiding knives. Like, I'm like, when you see it,
I mean, first of all, when I saw the dad.
Okay, go ahead with the dad. Talk about manipulation and acting.
He comes off as very over the top dramatic. Like the way this man acts, the way he speaks, everything is so
very
dramatized,
enunciated. Let me just make this clear.
Yeah,
just
but like
it's
his crying, the emotions. It's
for the camera.
Mm-hmm, it's so much. And
did your jaw drop at the very end when they caught that last 5 seconds? Like I was like, I knew it. I was going to call you during the middle of it. Like, this guy is manipulating us through the camera. Like, this guy, he's playing the fucking victim. Mm-hmm. Like, he was just pissing me off. Because, and then for a couple times, I'm like, oh, I do feel sorry for him. Maybe he is really. And then I'm like, no, look at that. That's,
no.
Oh, my gosh.
They have 3 biological sons. And then they adopted
Christine
her.
And Michael.
Yes, that's
Christine
the parents.
and Michael Barnett are the ones who ended up with her.
Yes.
But that was like the 3rd family that got her since she came from Ukraine.
Here's the thing. So I watched the 6 episodes, but then I went back and I watched a 2019 interview that she did with the family that she is now living with.
The one who took her in Indiana, who found her at age 13, living alone.
So I watched to them, a Dr. Phil episode with them.
Because the thing that pissed me off is because they made it seem like these people, like even in this one that we saw, like at first when I'm like, oh my gosh, they're taking her for her food stamps or whatever. And they made them out to be bad. And they never went back to correct that.
Well,
in that episode,
the thing that got me is, regardless if she is what they okay, maybe
we need to let people know, like,
they had
what's happening.
Her re-aged, as they call it. So they're claiming that she's like a con artist, and she was claiming to be born in 2003, and then through the courts they legally had her year of birth changed to 1989. So let's just start here.
They jumped her 14 years.
Her mother was born in 1979. Her biological mother, who they proved through DNA testing is her biological birth mother. That would say that her mother was 10 years old when she had her, if she was born in 1989. So, which I'm not saying it can happen, but the chances of that happening are probably slim to none.
This mother already had one older daughter.
Yeah.
Too,
so
okay. She was having kids since 8.
Yeah. But because of things that they had seen, and they said that they re-aged her.
Yeah. Well, this family ended up adopting Natalia. Christine and Michael Barnett, they bring her into their home with the 3 sons. And their side of the story, which the first 2 episodes kind of focus on, is how horrible this little girl was.
Now she's evil. She's demonic. She's trying to kill everybody.
She's threatening them. She's taking knives. She's threatening the family. And she doesn't deny it. Like, she probably did. She's
probably trying to protect herself.
She's protecting herself. She's a 6-year-old little girl from Ukraine that's already been passed to like the 3rd family.
Well, according to her interview on Dr. Phil, she was told that she had been in more than 30 homes by the time she got to them.
Oh, wow.
And she has no recollection. I mean, obviously, if she's 6 years old, she couldn't have stayed with them for very long.
Yeah.
But she was in and out of foster homes more than 30.
Wow. This little girl.
So just imagine that trauma.
Yeah. When you look back and you think like how old she was, really 6 years old when they got her. And they were like saying, no, she's got to be older because of the fact that they found a full set of, she had pubic hair. According to the family.
Well, and according to the mom, that she started her period.
She already had her period,
which
she's hiding it.
The people who the couple that has her now say that to this day, she has not menstruated at all.
See, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like all the stories are coming up with like the full pubic hair. I don't even know if what they're saying is true, and they never actually went back and said yes, she did, or we're only taking this Michael, who they mostly interviewed for this show.
Yeah, the mom
story.
The mom refused to be the adoptive mom. Christine refused to be part of it.
Yeah.
But the thing that got me was when they had her institutionalized, they interviewed nurses from the actual hospital that she was at, the insane asylum that she was at. And they all basically took the adoptive parent side because their faces weren't on camera, but they all agreed to just, an audio recording.
Yeah.
And they were saying that she was coming on to all the men there, all of the boys that were like.
But by this time, she's how old? She's what? By this time she's 9, 10.
Yeah.
Some little girls grow up a little bit faster. I mean, especially maybe you don't know what happened in the homes that she was at prior or what happened to her. But she did seem very bright. Like when they did. Is. Yeah. But
imagine how quickly you have to grow up.
Yeah. No, of course. Of course. She spoke very well, but it's funny. On a lot of the video they showed of her, I'm all, that's a 6-year-old talking. Like some of the way she's formatted her sentences, her sentence structures and stuff, the way that she spoke, even though she knew a lot, like the way she actually communicated it, it sounded like a 6-year-old to me.
Yeah.
So I kept going back and forth in the first 2 episodes when we didn't know yet. Like, the big reveal.
Because like the first 2 episodes, it's very biased. It's very much
one-sided
from the point of view of the adoptive father, because the mom, he just flip-flops all over the place with like her, with the mom. It comes out that the adoptive mom is very abusive towards not only Natalia but to him, the husband.
His story.
Yeah, that's his story. But then they have the older son is autistic.
Yes.
And they interview him for a large portion of this show, and I feel like the dad might be on the spectrum too.
They were very similar.
Yeah, they were both.
Of them. She's well, he. What was I going to say? Because I go blank, but everything that the son that they had, their oldest son. His was all on the abuse that the mother would show to Natalia. He witnessed it.
Yeah.
And he actually is corroborating, she did abuse her. And some of that, I do believe, but he's just a bystander, the father. Like, I just don't see him as the innocent victim he portrays himself to be.
Because why were the police never called?
Yeah. Like,
if it's to that extreme where you feel like your life is in danger and the lives of your children are in danger, you never hear from the two younger siblings. But why are you not calling the authorities and having her removed? If that's the case, you know, there's none of that happening.
That would have been the easiest way for the child to be removed from your custody anyways, if you're trying so hard to get rid of her.
I mean, at least so you have like a paper trail of something, you know? And she was, I feel like she was brainwashed. She was coached to say certain things. Because in the beginning, there's like some pretty crazy things that she says, like when they ask her, when she's sitting at the table and they ask her like what she's doing, and she's talking about like trying not to do all these bad things, or like, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like a child of that age would say stuff like that without somebody coaching them and telling them.
It's really hard. Like it was just because it was such a one-sided documentary. And I wish we would have heard more from her as an adult and everything.
Well, if you go back and watch the Dr. Phil interview, it's just her with her new family that she's with.
Because they don't have the same concerns they're bringing up.
No, like, and that's what they ask the family is, you've had her at this point in 2019, they have had her for six or 7 years at this point, and they ask her, the mom, like, do you and your husband have any fears? Like, have you guys had any inkling of anything that she is, you know, a threat to you, a threat to your children, to your animals, to anybody? And she says, never.
Yeah. And they got her when she was 13. A lot of these stories are when, and I'm going to back it up a bit so people who haven't seen it and are still watching us and haven't gone back to see it. But at 8 years old, when they get her re-aged to be 22 years old, which is ridiculous. They get her to be aged to 22 years old. They redo her birth certificate, everything. The parents, her parents, Christine and Michael, end up getting her an apartment. So if you look back, she's an 8-year-old little girl. They get her own apartment in the city to fend for herself. And they bring her groceries, leave it on the sidewalk for her to go get herself.
And the neighbors say that it was the dad that was bringing everything. The mom was never seen.
Yeah. Well, the mom came a couple times because the mom left the groceries. Remember, the old lady said that she came out. Old lady, I'm sad. I don't remember her name, but Sue, I think her name is, the neighbor. And she would come out and help. She came out and helped her and saw the mom just kind of drive off. But this is an 8-year-old little girl that's having to bring in these groceries on her own. She's having to worry about taking out the trash. She's living in this apartment by herself. And so some of the things that she was doing was a little bit age appropriate. I mean, for a kid who probably was exposed to a lot of little thing. So it's an 8-year-old little girl playing with a 4-year-old little girl, riding bikes with them, walking into neighbors' houses, just getting food.
Because she's
creepy.
starving.
It's creepy if it's a 22-year-old. I get it. Like, if you think she's 22 years old, living on her own with a disability,
and someone's just knocking at your door, playing with your 4-year-old kid. Yeah, of course. Coming in. Come on.
But she was really only 8 years old. So when hindsight, you know, you look back and you're like, she was only 8.
Well, and my whole thing through all of this was, no matter how old she was, right? Whether she was 8 or she was 22, to get her own apartment that had no accommodations for a little person. Okay. She can't reach the refrigerator. She can't reach the stove. She can't probably even reach the toilet, to be honest with you. The sink, the shower.
They're saying like her showering was.
Yeah, like, they're saying that she didn't shower. Well, she probably couldn't get in the bathtub.
How is she going to reach the knob?
She can't, you know? And so how is she supposed, you give her all this food. How is she supposed to cook it? Like, so at this point, I feel like age doesn't matter.
And then when you're going back and watching the dad's videos where he comes in and he interrogates her. I'm like, she's an 8-year-old little girl. Like, he's a bully. Like, at that point, I'm like, you're just an ass. You're a bully. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, who gives a shit where she got the fucking donuts from? He's like, okay, there's a scene where he's like, where did you get these donuts? Like, he's so much harping on these donuts. Like, who gives a fuck where she got fucking donuts
You're
from?
not doing anything for her.
Thank you. I'm like,
and they're down in a cupboard that she could reach.
Thank you. Who cares? You left her there by herself. Who gives a shit where she got what?
Where she got it from.
They were just.
And at what point did you think that, like, you didn't think at some point her neighbors were going to catch on to all of this?
Yeah.
You didn't think that people were going to be like, oh, where are your parents?
Yeah.
Where's your whoever? Like, you know, she has no transportation.
No, she can't go anywhere.
She's just there.
No schooling.
No, like I just, you know, and to hear the dad, not them, the dad, you know, say like, it was the best place possible for her. She was near a suicide prevention center. She was near a liquor store, which he called a grocery store. It was a liquor store.
I know.
It was like the corner.
It was called something pantry.
Yeah, it was like the corner liquor store where she could have got like a single serving of cereal if she was lucky and a bag of chips. Like, come on. No, I don't for a second. I feel like the dad is almost more at fault than the mom, because you're allowing this to keep going on and on and on. I don't care how much, who bullied you, how much you were bullied. I don't care. Like, you are at fault. And he keeps saying, well, I wasn't a man. That wasn't a man. And
yeah, but his interview in 2019 that they showed and his interview in 2022 are completely two different interviews.
Oh yeah, it's like a different person
defending everything that they did. And in 2019 and in 2022, he's blaming it all on his ex-wife because now he's facing charges.
Of course.
The charges they are facing is because after 8 years old to 9 years old, she lived in this one apartment, or maybe, I don't know. It's just, it's so confusing.
Because it was the lease. Yeah. The lease was a year.
And then they went to, she found her another apartment in Lafayette. So I guess she got there around 9 to 13. So maybe they adopted her at 13, but they took her in sooner. I have no, it's really funny because they're not really clear on the ages and times at this time. Like,
well, because sometimes they refer to her as her actual biological age, and then sometimes they refer to her. And the thing that got me is because I kept thinking, like, why did they re-age her to 22? Why were we stuck on 22? But they explain why. Because in Indiana, parents are still legally responsible for children up until the age of 21. So if they re-aged her to 22,
they wouldn't be
responsible for her, and they could get her own apartment and not look like it was just child abandonment, which I don't care what it was. Call it what you want. They abandoned her.
Yeah. So they ended up, Lafayette police are smarter than the other police departments, but they finally were like, they put their foot down. They said, we're not doing this. We are going to take you to court. We're going to arrest you for neglect.
And the area...
Oh, they left her in.
That was, I mean, I've never been there before, but her first apartment versus her second apartment,
the area was...
She was like in the slums on her second apartment.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and we're not trying to bash on, because we're like in any neighborhood, in any city, in my city too.
I live in the in the hood.
Yeah, you have good areas.
Yeah, I'm in the not so good area.
You have good areas and you have bad areas, and the area they left her in was not a nice neighborhood.
No.
And even the neighbors that lived in that area said, this is not a safe neighborhood. Like,
the one lady they interviewed said that she carried a gun in her home.
Yeah. I would not, she even said, I would not let my kids walk out in this neighborhood. But yet there's this 9-10-year-old
bringing in a
child with a disability that stands about the height of my
3
hips.
feet tall.
Yeah.
It's
getting up 16 stairs.
16 stairs. Yeah. So how is she
up to her apartment?
It's ridiculous.
No wonder why she stopped living in that apartment.
Yeah. It's so, I don't understand how they thought, the parent or the adoptive parents, I don't understand how they thought that this was going to all play out, because at this point, when they move her to this second apartment, they up and moved to Canada.
Not even living in the state.
They're not even in the same, country now.
They didn't even leave her with a phone. No phone.
They took everything away from her.
Stripped all her contacts off her phone, so she couldn't call for help.
She couldn't call for anybody.
Social services, CDS, because people were checking in on her at first. And
through this whole time, you see a back and forth messages between the husband and the wife, between this Michael and this Christine. And it's very obvious they know they're doing wrong.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very obvious in these messages, these text messages that they're showing that, you know, when the mom's like, we'll give her phone back, but you need to take all the contacts out. So she has nobody's phone number. And the dad's like, well, if you don't think that she's written them down or that she's memorized, why do you like, it's just, it's sickening. But so their oldest son, who is autistic, is basically like a mathematical genius. It sounds like.
Oh yeah.
So he got,
a scholarship
to somewhere in Canada. And so, you know, of course the mom wants to ride that wave with him. And so they just up and leave. And then that's when they get her the second apartment, because the first apartment, they were like, sorry, the end of the lease, they're like, you got to go.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't know what to make of this little girl who's supposedly 22, 23 by now and is playing with little kids. So neighbors are feeling uncomfortable. She's walking into people's homes, but she's only 8 years old.
And she's hungry.
Yeah, and she's hungry. Yeah, and people do desperate things when they're hungry.
Yeah, and
lonely.
Yeah, well, but regardless of that, I just feel like being in an apartment that you can't access anything, like, I can't imagine how frustrating that must have been for her. And like this little girl has a hard time just walking.
Yeah.
She wears braces on her legs. She wears like a very distinctive kind of shoe.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I just feel like everything has been such a struggle for her.
I'm not surprised at the end of the show she's with a walker, because I just think it takes a toll on your body, your bones, your muscles to maintain that. And they're like, yeah, well, look at her at this age. We got her on video running with them. Well,
oh,
yeah.
God. When they pulled that one out, and then they were talking about the video of her pushing that trash can.
Yeah.
Look at her just pushing that trash can. And I'm like,
of course, but at that age, and there's a whole difference between that age and to 19 by the time they're going to court and all this stuff.
But again, regardless of age,
yeah,
she's 3 feet tall. She shouldn't be pushing a trash can of that size, no matter what her age is.
Yeah.
So I just feel like to just leave her there, regardless of how old or young she is, it doesn't matter at this point. You just up and abandon this person.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so disgusting. So they go to court, and I'm sorry, but like this guy's attorneys, I'm like, who were these rinky-dink attorneys that you thought were God?
Yeah.
You know, the adoptive father, he has these 3 attorneys that are representing him in court, and you know, he's like, oh, this is my family, and the only time that I feel safe is here at my attorney's office. And I'm just like, okay, come on. Like, enough is enough. But how is it that a jury came to a conclusion in a matter of a few hours and he was not guilty?
Well, I understand where the juror came from when she explained that.
Oh, well, then after you hear that, well, they didn't let them admit any evidence.
They didn't let them tell you her real age.
No.
These people were clueless. They didn't know her real age. They thought she was 22. It had to be certain things weren't admissible. Certain things
it makes you really hate the legal system.
Yeah. I think it was really biased towards him. Well, what made my jaw drop even more is they dropped the charges against
the mother.
I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, maybe because they can't re-age her. It's so sad, because why isn't a court not re-aging her back? Like, if you can jump 14 years, why can't you put her back at the age she was?
And you see they're on a Zoom call with his attorney, the dad's attorney, and then there is
the mom's attorney. That's the mom's attorney. The guy who has
the mom's attorney.
Yeah.
Yes, the mom's attorney, and
that guy was an
then they're talking to a doctor. I don't know if it's a pediatrician or whatever, but it was a doctor who did X-rays of her spine, and he's talking about like the growth platelets and stuff where they're open.
Yeah. So she's not
that in itself means that she's a child, and he wants no part of it. Like he wants he does not want to hear it. He's like he's like not even letting the doctor. Yeah. Well, you just asked me a question and I'm trying to answer you, but you don't like my answer. So now you're telling me to shut up. Like I can't say that.
Yeah. Well, they don't want to bring up anything about age. Don't bring up her age, because then you'll know that they neglected a child. Yeah. I don't understand why they didn't proceed with charges against the mother. I thought they had a lot against her, especially with
they said lack of evidence. How is there lack of evidence anywhere?
I don't know if it has something, maybe if the dad dropped out of trying, you know how they had the dad, they like wanted to subpoena him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Because remember they had that at the end, something about the text messages with the mom and this guy who used to work on stage, rock star, and exchanges, and something about, you know, the dad inappropriately was with that's what I got from it, even though they bleeped it out, that he had sex maybe with her, and he was like floored and like, no, this didn't happen. His overreaction is a reaction.
Oh God. I mean, when he does the whole reaction of how the mom used to beat her when he got on the floor, and he just
can't with him.
Yeah. But it's very dramatic.
It's sad if it's not true. And honestly, I don't know either way, like with that family, who knows, but, an accusation like that would make anybody want to shut up about anything. Because if that's going to come out in court, I'm not having any part of it, because
100%.
How am I supposed to defend myself? Because honestly, you know, even if I did or didn't do it, how am I supposed to defend myself? Because once that's out in the public, like us, public opinion.
Yeah.
Dad's kind of creepy. I don't know, you know, or, you know, you don't know either way.
Yeah.
So
it's, I mean, it makes you wonder, but it just really, really puts so much doubt regarding the legal system and just the way that things,
and the adoption process. Because I think the adoption agency should be held liable for some of this.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got a feeling they were a little shady.
Oh yeah, no. But I think the parents went there because they were shady, and there's no background check. He's acting like, oh my God, we're stellar of the community. We're so great. We had all this money. We're just great parents. We're a great family. La da 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 da.
No.
But if you search their background, maybe you would have found
something. Yeah.
And
there's domestic violence charges, and you mean to tell me they're gonna adopt a child into that kind of a home? Yeah,
and
I don't think so.
For someone to. And he's like, oh, the other one, you know, fell apart because of Haiti and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, it fell apart because a lot of shady people and bad people were taking these kids from Haiti.
Yep.
So maybe they were those type of people, and they found out, and no, you can't take our children anymore. And I don't blame countries who now no longer want Americans to take their kids.
Yeah, I mean.
And it's so sad because there's so many kids out there that needs homes, and I know people want to adopt, and out of country is probably the option because of the affordability of it.
And things have changed. Like it used to be so easy to adopt a child. Not easy, but like now it's just, I don't know, so many things have changed. And
it should be difficult. I think they should go through all the background checks and everything, but it's just, I don't blame other countries for being scared of our people. I'm sorry. Like we got some shitty ass scary people who live in our states. Like, and I know they're all over the world.
Oh, of course.
I'm just like,
but stories like this really just make you, just, you know, I don't know. It just makes me wonder about everything. How many other cases are there like this out there?
Yeah.
That aren't, you know, having TV shows made and not being talked about. And I'm hoping that they do like, I don't know. It seemed like they wrapped it up, but like a part 2, like, I don't know, like clarifying a lot of the stuff. It was very, very biased. Like the whole thing, it was very, very much on their side and
on the dad's side, I feel like.
Yeah. And his reaction when he's found not guilty, and just the tears and the, oh my God. And now he's remarried and he has, you know, and my thing is, so the older son who's autistic is living in the dad's basement,
which if you look at this basement,
looks like he's in a brick jail cell.
Thank you.
Kind of looks
Can't
like
you
where
make it
Shannon's at.
Can you make it like look? No, this is gorgeous compared to where they have them.
He just has a mattress on the floor.
Yeah, and the wall's not even paint. Like
no, it's just this
off the thing.
Brick wall behind him with this mattress in the corner, and he's like living in his basement.
Yeah,
and the mom is just with these 2 other kids. And like that's it. Like nothing. Like nobody's gonna look into her. Nobody like
no
they're
charges
just
are gonna be charged.
Done. Like we're just gonna go let them live their life and what
they destroy. And I mean, granted, Natalia now she lives with a great family. She seems happy, well adjusted, smart, very well spoken. But I feel like she was always smart, very smart, and very well spoken.
And there's so many things like. How did the court not catch so many things like the mom or the dad, I don't remember which one, claimed that, she was hiding knives on top of the kitchen. On top of the refrigerator. How was that little girl going to get on top of the refrigerator?
Yeah. I don't know. I just know that they showed her hiding them under the bed and she was standing at the edge of the bed, but they did show video of the mom, reprimanding this little girl by making her stand in a corner, not letting her go to the restroom.
She made her keep her nose on the wall,
pee on herself, How do you say it? Defecate?
Yes.
my speaking abilities. But I'm like,
for hours.
No wonder why.
For hours.
If the account of the father is true, where that woman would beat her to try to have her tell her real age.
Yep.
Why?
He's just as at fault as she is.
Why would she not be hiding knives to protect herself?
Of course.
And then, and then how they get people to interview and like, oh yeah, she did look older. But the one where the family, the dad's all, and they had brought another 6-year-old little girl with the same disability to come and play with her. And they realized that Natalia was way taller than this little girl, but dwarfism comes in different sizes and different,
Yeah, that's no comparison.
Yeah. So when they were talking about this, and different disabilities do different things to craniofacial structures.
But there's so many different types of dwarfism.
Yeah. But there's
achondroplasia, she's got something else. She also has scoliosis.
There's just so many different things that the reasons why these 2 little girls didn't look the same, even though they had the same disabilities. And, but they're like, her face or this, and that family never reached back out to us again because they can tell that she was actually older. No, the family probably didn't reach back out to you again because you 2 are fucking crazy, not the little girl. Yep. Like the way you react to the situation.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you that it was probably the whole time, oh my God, they're probably, I see the conversation. She does look older than her, huh? And they're saying this in front of the other parent.
Oh, of course.
I'm just picturing it. I'm making that up that wasn't on there, but I'm just saying,
but
like,
still,
when
it makes your mind just kind of spin, like,
well, you know how like when you want something to be confirmed for you, and so you do something, and I feel like they brought this little girl there to compare and to confirm their suspicions.
Yeah.
And everything was so one-sided. They're confirming she is taller. Oh, they're the same age, but she looks bigger. And then she really is an adult. Look at her. I just feel like, I
feel like in a weird way, it's like almost a form of Munchausen's by proxy. I don't know. Like I don't know. It's a very, I think the parents just from the get-go, this Christine and Michael, I think they knew exactly what they were doing, and things probably just didn't work out the way that they thought it was. And they just thought, okay, well, we're just going to get a reagent. We're just going to ditch her. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be like, oh my God, we're the victims. Like, how did you guys deal with this evil child in your house? And
it was disgusting. So on that note though, please, if you did not see it before you listen to us, go back and see it. I mean, it's not like we want them to, it is one-sided, but just,
watch the Dr. Phil interview though. The Dr. Phil interview,
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear her talk. Now, at the time of the interview, I believe she was 16 years old. But it's sad because he asks her, how old are you? And she says, I'm 16, but I'm 30, but I'm really 16.
Like biologically?
Because
or
she has to say her age because she, at that moment on paper, she's 30 because they can't go back and change her age.
Correct her age again.
And which is crazy to me because I should have looked up on it because at the very end of it, they say that the mom, her biological mom from the Ukraine, her name is Anna. I forgot the last name. Anna something. But she says that she would like to reconnect with her. And so they were going to try to, work something out. But the mom says, I had her on September, 4th, 2003. She knows the exact time she was born, like 6:25 in the morning at this hospital in this maternity ward and blah, blah, blah. And they did a DNA test. Like, it's been confirmed that this is her biological daughter.
Yeah,
and when you hear the adoptive dad, this Michael guy, well, we never saw any proof of that. We don't know that that's who they swabbed, and we don't know. Come on.
Just let it go.
Come on.
Let it go.
Like, that's her mother.
Yeah, let it go.
So,
but please watch it.
Yes. So please check it out.
Comment. Tell us what you think about it. Did it get you as angry as it got us? Like, I don't know.
I don't know what I was like I said, I just stumbled upon it and I was hooked and I hadn't ever heard this story before ever. Yeah. So
I think I vaguely remember it in the news because I remember like something like similar to The Orphan or something.
Yeah.
But also the last few minutes or whatever, there's a part in 2019 interview with this Michael guy, and that's the part where I said like, oh, did your mouth drop? When he goes, he's like got this crying face and goes, okay, never mind, I don't need the tears, huh? Like, you see, it's all an act.
It's just he is just putting on a show
for the cameras.
Yep.
He's
just an actor. He's an absolute actor, and this is just like,
he's loving this attention.
Of course he is. And then to be to get off on everything, like, come on,
got away with it. So
yeah. So it's just I would love to hear everyone's take on this, and
please
what
check
their feelings are.
Discovery Plus.
Yeah, Discovery Plus. It's on ID channel. So check it out and let us know your feelings. So
well, that's our wrap on that.
Yeah. So that's our shoot the shit for this episode.
So please subscribe,
comment, subscribe, please. All of that on our podcast. On the podcast app, you can also
leave your comments
there. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Make sure and subscribe and like. And we're all at 50 States of Madness. Thank you. Shout out to our Patreons.
Yes.
If you'd like to support us, we are at patreon.com/50 States of Madness.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.